Kadosh Boker Or Daf Yomi Masechet Sanhedrin Daf Memhei Amud Aleph 45a1. We're starting on Memdalad Bet Mishnah. Hayarachok min Bet Skila Arba Mot. Right when he was going to be distant from for a mot, he comes and he says, right, as this. Hayarachok mi Bet Skila Arba Mot Mavshitin Oto et Begadav. They used to come and they used to take off his clothing. Hayish Mechasin Oto min Farav. The man they used to cover him on the right with just like a little tiny piece of cloth. They used to cover his private parts. Vayisha from the front and from the back. These are the words of Yehuda. He says not only the man is going to be buried without clothing, but not the woman. Says the Gemara, 45a. Taru Abanam, we learned to the Braita. Right, so they used to only just a little part in the front part, obviously to cover zerva. The isha shne prakim, and a woman, two different parts, obviously. Okay, the right whether it's in the front or the bottom, because the entire thing is zerva, which means that you could see the erva from the front or from the back. These words of Yehuda. Chachamim says only a man is going to be buried stoned by without clothing, but not the woman. My time, what's the reason in Rabbanan? The pasuk says v'ragemu oto. What does it mean oto? They have to stone him. What is him? Ilema oto v'lota. If it's only him and not her, it's written, they're going to take out the man or the woman and they're going to stone them. So obviously they stone women as well. Elamai oto. What does it mean now? There goes kalto v'ragamu oto belo kesuto. You have to do without clothing. Haota mashma, that she does have clothing miksuta. So therefore that's how the rabbis learn that only a man is going to be stoned without clothing and not women. Rabbi Yudah says, Oto belo ksuto, right? He without the ksut, lo shna ish v'lo shna isha. There's no difference between a man or a woman. So lememra de rabbanan chay sheli hura. He says what? The rabbis actually come and they're going to say that they're going to be choshesh for an avera. That means if she's going to be stoned without clothing, they're going to suspect that now people are going to be thinking about avera. Rabbi Yudah lo chash, and Rabbi Yudah is not going to be choshesh for avera. We learned the exact opposite. The Tanam we learned in the Mishnah. This is to do with the sotah. HaKohen ochez bivgadea. The Kohen used to come and take her clothing, right? And then he used to tear it. Im nikru nikru, if the torn, vim nifrmu nifrmu, right? Which means it doesn't matter until he's going to come and reveal her hurt. Okay, so therefore he says the soteret tzara, then he's going to remove the hair, right? So now the hair covering. So now they're going to see the hair. If she was very beautiful, loya megaleo, he wouldn't reveal her. He wouldn't take it off because of Yurud Avera. So it comes out that Chachamim do not suspect of Avera, and Rabbi Yehuda does. So what's going on over here? So answers the Gemara. Rabbi says, there the reasoning is, Shema tetzem bedin zakah, maybe she's going to go out of the bedin, right? Zakah, vidgaruba pirche keuna. Because maybe by man she's going to drink, and then she's pure. And if she's pure, nothing happens to her. And then what's going to happen? The pirche kohanim, the kohanim sirim are going to come, and they're going to start doing something. Because they already saw her without the clothing, they're going to get all excited. So hacha, here to do sekila, she's going to be killed. So what are you afraid of? She's already going to be killed. Now, if you're going to tell me now, right, is going to come and have other women, right? So therefore, he says, Rabba says, he says the Yetzirah only controls a person what he sees. If he doesn't see, not because he sees this woman, it's in another woman. It's only what he sees, not with somebody else. So Amar Rabba says, Rabbi Yehuda Kasha. He says, what? Is it only a question of Rabbi Yehuda to do with Sotah and on the Sekila and not to do with the Rabbanan and the Rabbanan is not going to be a question? It should be the exact same thing. So he says, Ela Rabba says like this. The Rabbi Yehuda Lakasha, why? Just like we answered before, that there's going to be a difference between Sotah and Sekila. The Rabbanan Kasha, why? Amakar, the Pasuk says, V'nivasru kol anashim v'lo tasrekem zinat. What does that mean? Comes to teach you that it's fitting for a sotah to be drank, that she should be like other women, which means that women should come and take musar, that you shouldn't do your prutza. And therefore, you have to be minavelot, you have to embarrass her, you have to do something, such a like thing, that even if, she didn't actually do it, women would come and say, don't be a prutza like her, in order that they don't do that. So therefore, you have to be megaleli, ba, v'sara, and everything, even if they're nice. Hacha, over here to the sikila, en lecha yisur gadol mizeh. There's no greater musar than the skila in itself, because she's going to die. So therefore, you don't have to come and start embarrassing her, disgracing her, because anyway, she's going to be dead. If you're going to tell me do the two things, meaning also by sekila and also the bizuy also, you have to give them a beautiful death. What does that mean? Don't come and kill them in an embarrassing way. Kill them in a way that they need to be killed. Don't come and do extra. Okay? So why don't we just say that there's a machlok Tanaim? So says the Gemara, no, it's not true. Everybody holds, whether it's a Chachamim Rabbi Yehuda, they have to give them a mita yafa, a good death. Some people say the bizayon of a man is even better, right, than his body. And some people say the women, right, that means the woman would come and she would prefer to be stoned and not to be mitbazot, even though it's going to be harder for her to be killed. Umor savar niyacha de gufe adip bizone. But the Chachamim, Rabbi Yehuda, he comes and he says, no, the nochut of the goof of the person is much more than his bizayon, and therefore a woman would actually prefer to be stoned without clothing in order that she should die quickly, in order that she doesn't actually suffer, and that's the biror mitayafa. You have to choose a beautiful death. Okay? Mishnah, Memhe Amud Aleph. Bet Askila ya gavoa shte komot. The Bet Askila was 2 floors height. Echad min ha'edim, one of the edim, dochol motnav, would push him, right? Right? That's what he basically would push him. Nepacha libo, right? And he would fall on his heart and then he would die. Okay? So it says here, v'metba. Now, if he died through that push, yatsa, you would say chova. And if not, Hasheni notel etav. And the second Ed would take a stone, and he'll throw it on his heart. If he died, yatsa, he would say chova. And if not, regimato bechol Yisrael. So then everybody comes and they stone him. Shneimar says the pasuk, Yad ha'edim tiyeh bo v'nishonam yitovia kol ha'machrona. First was the edim where they're going to do it, and then it would be everybody else. Tana, we learned in a Braita. Remember that even we just said there has to be 2 komot, it's 2 komot and his koma, so it's going to be actually 3, meaning it was 2 komot plus his koma, because he's also like one floor, as they say. So therefore, when he's falling, it's like 3. So says the Gemara, do you need that much? Or meaning we have a contradiction. Ma bor shu kedei lamit. A bor is in order to kill. What is that? Asrat tfachim, 10 tfachim. Afkol, so to here we're talking about Kilelami, which is 10 tfachim, 80 centimeters. So the pasuk says, which means we want to make sure that he's going to die quickly. So therefore, it's not just enough that you put 10 tfachim, because many times he won't die like that. So therefore, you want to make sure that it's going to be much higher up, so that way when he falls, he's going to die. So make it even much higher. And so if he's going to be too high, the entire body is going to explode and go all over the place. That's already a nivul for the body, so they don't want to do those things. Okay? Fine. 2 dots. One of the witnesses are going to come and they're going to push him. So how do you know you have to push him? Yaro. Yaro is like throwing. How do you know that it has to do with sekila? So he says, how do you know if you do both, which is sekila and the chiyam pushing? Which means since it says both of them, you know that you have to do both. So how do you know that if you pushed him, it's already going to be tzedek chovah? Tamulomar o yaro yireh. So minayin she'af l'doroken. How do you know that it's always going to be for that, even for generations? Right? Memeham ubet 45b. Tamulomar sakol yisaken. 2 dots. Vimlav. Now, if the person did not die from the nefilah, from the falling, right? Ed hashani notel et haven. So the second ed would take the stone and then he would throw it on. Notel, he would just take it. V'atani will learn to the Rabbi Shimon lezaromer. Even aita sham asu yishne adam. You needed 2 people to pick it up. Notelav and notna libo. They used to come and put it on his heart. He met, but if he dies, yatsa. So therefore, how could it be the one ed could do it? So it says the Gemara, and according to you, you actually have the question. They used to pick it up, but then he had to throw it on. In order that the Evan will come bechozek, meaning that since it's only one person now throwing it, so therefore it's going to come mamash with a lot of strength, and therefore he's going to die that way. Vimlav, now if he didn't die with a stone afterwards, so then they used to come and they used to stone him, everybody together. He says, what are you talking about? This never happened. Meaning, after being thrown off the 2-story building, and then after again, getting the stone, nobody lived. So mi kamina David, timitza kamina. We never said that it happened. We just said this is what you would do if you need to. So Amar more says, Even Aita, there was a stone, right? So he says, Vatanya achat, right? Even sheniskalba ve'achat et shenitlalav ve'achat ve'achat sudar shenechnak bo kulanik bedinu. He says, what are you talking about? When they come and they stone the person, whether it's going to be the wood that he was hung upon, whether it's going to be the sword that he was killed with headache, or the sudar that he was done chenek, they bury him. So for also the sekila, the same thing. And so the Gemara he says, no, they used to fix another one and bring another stone every single time. He says, what are you talking about? How could you say that these things are going to be buried with him? I thought that you're not going to bury it with him. Papa, my imo doesn't mean imo, which means a shayach to him, which means within his 4 amot, not in the same kever, meaning they wouldn't bury it in the same kever, within the same daled amot, they used to bury, whether it's the stone or this or that, all these things right beside it. Okay? Amar Shmuel. Shmuel comes and he says, Nikta yada edim patur. If right now the yada edim is going to be cut off before the hariga, he's going to be patur from ita. My tamuma. The baina yada edim to Yerushalayim. You need the hands of the edim. Here you don't have the. That means if they would cut off the hands of the edim, now the guy doesn't get a death penalty. Beleka, you don't get it. Okay, ela me'ata. So they're going to ask edim gidim meikar. What happens if they were already a gidim from the beginning, meaning they didn't have hands? Are you going to tell me that they're going to be pasul? So answers the Gemara, Shanehatan Damar Kra Yada Edim Shaita Kvar. No, it says Yada Edim that they already had it in hands, and then this happened. So Meitvei, so they're going to ask the following question: Kol Makom Shem Yudu Shnayim Yom Numidian Mishvon Shlim Bardino Bevlin Nublon Nublon Yadav. What is the Yareg? He's going to be killed. So therefore, it's mashma from this Mishnah that Betin Sheni are going to be Mechayevoto, right? And even if you don't have the original two Edim, so what's going on? So Tirgama Shmuel Behen Hen Edav. No, it's the same Edim. So says the Gemara, Mi Baina Kral Kedichtiv. Right? Do we actually need the pasuk to mamash exactly the way that it's written? Vatanya, right? He comes and he says like this. He says, Vatanya, mot yumat hamakeh rotzeachu. That's only going to be the death which is going to be written there. What happens if you can't kill him in any other way? So you could kill him anyway. You could just shoot an arrow at him. In any fashion. So therefore he says, no, it's different over there to do with the rotzeach. The pasuk says mot yumat. Meaning, when the pasuk says mot yumat, you have to kill the murderer in any fashion. It doesn't. So says Ibn Ligmar Mineh. So learn from there, that any type of mitat betin, if you can't do one type of a mitah, do another type. And so the Gemara Mishum David Rotzeach and Goel Adam Shnei Ketuvim Echad. Rotzeach and Goel Adam, there are two psukim coming to teach you the same concept. Okay, and therefore Chol Shnei Ketuvim Echad Lamdin did you learn to anywhere else? Rotzeach is what we just mentioned right now, right? Why? Because we just said Motumat Makeh Rotzeachu. Goel Adam, what is it? Tanya Goel Adam Yamit Rotzeach. Goel Adam is going to kill the Rotzeach. Mitzvah Goel Adam. What happens if the person doesn't have a Goel? How do we know the Betin come and they place him a Goel? That there has to be there. So since it's two psukim teaching the same thing, you can't learn it anywhere else. So it's only by a rotzeach that you could kill him in any other fashion of death penalty, but not anybody else. You don't need a pasuk that which was written. We learned in the Mishnah. If a person was going to be a kidem, so basically he's got a handicap, whether it's going to be ilem. He can't talk. He can't have. He doesn't have a hand or a regel. He doesn't have a foot. Right? He's handicapped or sumar. He's blind or cheresh. He's deaf mute. Eno nasa ben sodom noreh. Doesn't become ben sodom noreh. Shneimar b'zetz pasuk. V'tafesu vo aviv imo v'lo gavim v'otzi oto v'lo chigrin v'amru v'lo yomim benenu zel lo sumin. Enenu shomea v'lo chereshin. Each one of these things, when it says to grab him, it means that they can't. They have to have hands. If they have to take him out, they can't be a chiger. They can't be lame. If it says right, they said, so they can't be that they're mute. If it says this child, right, then you have to see him. They can be blind. If it says he's not listening, they can be cheresh. My time, what's reasoning? We need the pasuk exactly the way that it's written. So answers the Gemara, no. Shane Atam is different over there. The entire pasuk is extra. So since the entire pasuk is extra, that's why we are doresha. You need every single one of these things in this halacha. So let's go back to do we actually need the exact same way that it was written in the Torah? So Tashema. En la rechov, you have to come and you have to kill the ira nidachat and the rechova shaliru. What happens if it doesn't have a rechov? And you don't make it ira nidachat. That is the words of Rabbi Ishmael. Rabbi Kiva says, en la rechov, make a rechov, and then you judge them in the rechov. So ad kalo pligel the more savar rechova the mikara bainan more savar rechova dasha the mikara adami. Aval dechuli alma bainan kadaktiv. So it comes out whether according to Rabbi Kiva or Rabbi Ishmael, the only machloket is do you have to originally have the city square, the city center, or not? And the kilu that if you do it now, it's kilu that you had it. But according to everybody, you have to fill the pasuk exactly the way it is. So says the Gemara, you're right. Tanaim, it's machlok Tanaim. The Tanaim we learned in the Mishnah, right? The Mishnah says, "En lo bohen." What happens by a mitzorah if he doesn't have a right finger, bohen regel, or the right toe, the big toe, or zanaimanit, or the right earlobe? En lo tara lo meat. He's not going to have tara forever. Rabbi Eliezer says, "No tena mekomo." You place it where it was, where it should have been. You're going to be tzedek chova. You're going to do it on the left. And you're going to be tzedek chova. So therefore, you come in here and you see that Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon they hold that we do not need kak k'dichtive, and therefore they say that you actually could do it even if you're doing it in another form. And others, right? There was who Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon. And you had the Tanakama. So it comes out that there's going to be a machloket. Do you need exactly the way that it's going to be written, or no? Have a wonderful day, everyone.